Our boy is pierced by a huge blade, knowing his adventure has ended right here in this lonely, bloody wasteland. He coughs out blood as the heavy guilt of his failure crushes him down harder than the steel in his chest. Even in pain, he looked up and sneered at his executioner, telling him to just end it all. The multi-armed goddess towers over the ruins, a scary god waiting to wipe out the last of humanity. Behind that golden mask, she shows no kindness and ignores the dying world's cries. She grabs her godly weapons and readies a last blow meant to wipe out everything the hero fought to save. Suddenly, she zooms down like a shooting star to land the final killing blow. His eyes shine one final time just before a huge blast swallows the city and marks the end of all humans. It turns out this whole tragedy was just a terrible ending to a web novel sitting on some guy's phone. Jae-hyuk sighed from his bed, completely baffled that the writer had wrapped up the tale with such a sad and lazy ending. Jae-hyuk sneered at the author, convinced he was the only one wasting his time on this terrible story. He flings his phone to the side, finished with the chatter, and ready to finally start his day. While our boy is busy, a strange message suddenly appears, telling us that the worlds are finally coming together. By the next morning, the city looks normal, but there is a strange feeling that something is seriously wrong. Jae-hyuk walked out in his sharp suit, looking like he was running on empty while trying to disappear into the crowd. He yells at the housing market for stealing affordable homes, only to freeze in shock when the building he sought suddenly disappears. He shoves his way through the press of people, praying he isn't just seeing things. It turns out a huge part of the city has vanished, replaced by a strange white emptiness. Amidst the tears of his neighbors, Jae-hyuk stares in horror as his hard-earned savings vanish into nothingness. Jae-hyuk starts doubting how well-built our modern buildings are after watching an entire one disappear in just one night. He stepped into his classroom, but before he could take a breath, a shadow that was way too fast for comfort sprang from the dark and grabbed him. It turns out his hyperactive classmate is just like him, and they greet each other like old friends. The guy starts talking crazy about the end of the world, making our boy wonder if he's finally lost his mind. Jae-ha-kim pushes him away and asks if he spent the whole night playing games instead of getting some sleep. His friend won't let him doubt it, insisting that viral videos show buildings disappearing all over the world. Jae-ha-kim acts calm and scratches his head, pretending it was all just a bunch of strange accidents. Then his friend mentions monster attacks, and the air suddenly grows dark and gritty. He remembers the book's hero fighting a terrifying sea monster that has no business being real. Remembering the old stories, he knows exactly where to hit if that wolf-like nightmare ever shows up. Our boy grips his spear tightly, trying not to panic because one slip-up means he's dead for sure. He looks at the growling monster and knows he must finish it all in one perfect hit. The beast charges ahead with a scary roar, its claws ready to rip right through his ragged armor. His eyes go wide as the beast gets closer, and the tension snaps right to the breaking point. With a sudden burst of speed, he jumps high into the air to dodge the wolf's deadly charge. He drives it all the way down, screaming inside his head that this nightmare has to end. The spear plunges deep into the monster's back, sending a spray of blood as its charge is stopped dead. He pants hard as he stands over the fallen monster, cheering for a win that feels like it took him forever. But as he stares at the fallen body, a cold dread takes hold because the silence and lack of loot prove that the real danger is still waiting in the shadows. Our boy just smirks, knowing that this terrible dog is pretending to be dead. He sneers at the smooth little dog, telling it to drop the act and just stay dead for good. The wolf lets out its last broken howl before its body turns into static pixels and vanishes into thin air. Suddenly, a bright blue heart and a sharp dagger leap out of the empty digital space. A message pops up to say he's taken his first kill and got the beast soul as a reward. He throws his hands up in pure excitement, thrilled that his hard fight finally paid off with amazing gear. He doesn't hesitate a single second, so he agrees to use the soul, burning with curiosity to feel the power inside it. Suddenly, a huge red shadow of the wolf towers over him just as the power starts to build up. He screams in agony as the powerful beast forces itself into his body. A violent blast of red mana explodes to birth a terrifying new power, and once the glowing aura fades, our boy stands tall, soaked in the raw strength of the wolf soul. Notices flashed on the screen, shouting that his strength had skyrocketed 10 times and his reflexes had doubled, so he grinned with excitement to see just how powerful this first kill had made him. He punches his own arm to check if his new toughness is real, but he feels absolutely no pain at all. Next, he leans back into a punch, wondering if he can actually break the world around him. He stares in shock as the earth cracks open into a huge hole, realizing his own power is far too weak to cause such a disaster. He looks at the treasure and wonders what secret power the abyssal stone holds. He swallows the stone instantly, praying it will give him a powerful new weapon. His eyes widen as he realizes he might just have unlocked a rare space power. It turns out he's just holding a plain old box, which is a huge letdown compared to the amazing power he was hoping for. Our boy looks over his new gear and sees that the hunting god sword makes him twice as strong. He's super excited about the lacerate effect, which slowly drains a piece of an enemy's health every single second. Since he is the sole person to have finished the book, he realizes he is now the most powerful human being on Earth. With the next big reward just 3 days away, he can't wait for the second stage to begin. Back at school, he finds a classroom filled with chatter about strange things happening all over the world before his hyperactive classmate Suda zooms into him with an oddly intense greeting. Our boy easily dodges the tackle, watching the blonde kid crash onto the floor like a pile of trash. Suda stands back up, instantly noticing that his friend feels totally different now. He begins to panic over the monsters appearing everywhere, convinced the world is finally heading straight to hell. Even as the internet tries to hide all the trouble, Suda shows that he managed to keep a secret video of the chaos. Suda reveals a secret video where a special forces soldier sneaks into the building's foundations to hunt down a monster. He can't wait to see if our boy finally gets that going wild with lightning powers after beating the beast is real and not just a silly trick. With monsters on the way, Suda is desperate to wake up his own superpowers and wants to train together. Our boy casually agrees to the plan, leaving the blonde kid completely speechless. Their teacher breaks the spell, dismissing the global chaos as just fake rumors to fit her usual adult priorities. Han Jae-hyuk just stares straight ahead, knowing the truth will hit everyone like a freight train in just 3 days. Suda glances at his friend, noticing that Han Jae-hyuk has changed into someone entirely different lately. Just as the bell rings, our boy lets out a huge sigh of relief because that boring, useless lecture is finally over. Before he can walk away, Suda tugs him aside to really get to the bottom of his friend's strangely calm confidence. Han Jae-hyuk sighs, struggling to figure out how to tell a regular kid that the world is actually ending. They head out to the empty school track, the perfect quiet place to have a secret, high-stakes talk. Takato pushes for the real story, knowing our quiet boy is hiding a huge secret under that calm face. When Han Jae-hyuk hesitates, the blonde kid throws a full-blown drama queen fit, declaring their friendship officially over. He even starts faking tears, trying so hard to make his best friend feel bad until they finally tell him the truth. Giving in, Han Jae-hyuk makes him promise to keep this total secret from everyone else. Takato swears on his life, desperate to finally see what hidden power his friend truly holds. Our boy says to watch closely as he gets ready to prove his new strength. With a simple snap of his fingers, he breaks the hard concrete as if it were glass. Takato just stood there, mouth open, realizing his friend had finally climbed past the line of ordinary people. Our boy says he just got this crazy power after he knocked out a monster yesterday. Takato is completely stunned, clutching the hand as if he's seeing a miracle right before his eyes, while a pink-haired student nearby watches this strange, close moment and can't believe what's happening. She thinks they're just flirting, totally missing the fact that they're actually swapping secrets that could destroy the world. Han vows to carry his friend through the next raid, so he can finally unlock a new skill. Takato looks shaken as he realizes the deadly path his best friend is leading him down, while Han meets his gaze with cold eyes and insists that this secret belongs only to them. As the school day ends, the quiet city covers up the wild storm that is gathering just underneath. Han steps out, already figuring out the way to an empty place where the next rift is about to appear. He knows a slick, fast abyss monkey is waiting for him, so he has to get ready for its speed. Han realizes that the abyss monkey's guard is as weak as a common earth monkey's, barely protecting it at all. Then comes the abyssal gorilla, a slow-moving powerhouse with strength so great it could crush a normal person without even trying. Our boy realizes his stats are better and plans to leave one monster for Takato, but a familiar voice suddenly calls out and breaks his focus on the fight ahead. He calls the kind neighbor Annie and offers her a rare, genuine smile. She gives him a warm meal, showing how much she worries about the boy living alone these days. Han instantly feels that his scumbag uncle is probably hiding around his place again, just looking for another easy score. It seems the low-class relative is still trying to take the home that Han's late dad left behind. He tells her not to worry because his new powers make him feel invincible. Walking away, he leaves her stunned by his power, even though he is actually walking straight into a real war zone. Han arrives home to find his family's house ruined and taken over by trash, while his scumbag uncle and cousin are getting drunk inside. The pink-haired cousin wonders if Han finally ran away for good, secretly hoping he never comes back. The drunk uncle just laughs, believing the family can finally stay put as long as the boy remains lost. He even waves around a crumpled piece of paper, shouting that he inherited the rights and now the house belongs to him. The party is ruined the moment the front door slams open, bringing the true owner back. Our boy steps forward with a dark presence, scolding the leeches for ruining his home while his cousin acts tough, calling him a brat without realizing he's facing a god. Just one glance at Han's icy, bright eyes makes the trashy cousin's heart stop in its tracks. The drunk uncle leans in, trying to act like a big brother by mentioning his late mom and telling Han that he needs to learn to live on his own before college even starts. He sneers, tossing a pathetic 1,000 yen at the true heir like he's a homeless man, while the scummy cousin snaps, screaming for the boy to pack and leave right now. Han stands his ground without blinking, coldly telling them that they are the ones who need to go and forge the will. The uncle just barks back at Han, daring him to find proof, while claiming his influence makes any lawsuit impossible. Han points to the ruined room and reminds them how they disappeared right when his parents were struggling the most. He remembers his mother juggling 4 jobs while those parasites drained their cash to fund their drinking. The uncle stands completely unshaken, smirking as he tells Han to either take him to court or disappear right now. From behind, his cousin spits that Han's mom died because karma punished her for being a greedy gold digger. The trash-tier relative keeps screaming insults at Han, calling him a dog and mocking the character of his late mother. Han finally loses it, his eyes bright with magic power as he roars for them to stop calling his friends names. The cousin just laughs, teasing our boy to actually do something instead of just barking. Even the uncle jumps in, sneering at Han and asking if he really thinks he can grab hold of his elders. They believe they were safe from harm, with the cousin even vowing to beat Han until he was covered in bruises for his disrespect. Fed up with the noise, Han throws a heavy punch straight into his uncle's smug face. The blast sends a scumbag soaring through the air, proving that Han's training has turned him into something way more than just an ordinary kid. As his old man fell, the cousin snatched a bottle and ran like a scared rabbit. Our boy doesn't even break a sweat, landing a perfect kick that instantly silences the trashy cousin. The bottle smashes on the ground, and both of these leeches crawl in the dirt. Shivering on the ground, the cousin weakly vows to tell on Han while desperately acting like the innocent one. Han walks into his room and tells his annoying relatives to do whatever they want for now. While we heal our wounds, the cousin suggests calling Chief Kato to get violent payback on our boy. Han gathers his things, ready to survive the coming Abyss attack and finally avenge his parents. Carrying his luggage, he strides past the stunned leeches, having decided to stop wasting his breath on them. He tells them they can have the house for 3 days, his eyes glowing with cold indifference. The uncle and cousin stood frozen in shock, unable to believe Han had just walked away so suddenly. With his swollen jaw aching, the uncle wonders if the boy really just walked away from his whole inheritance. The cousin is so angry about being disrespected that she is calling all her friends to come help. As the city lights flicker, Han walks into a hotel to get ready for the big disaster about to happen. He books a room for 2 nights, getting ready for the day the world finally breaks. Han walks up to the counter where the receptionist asks if he's running away and then suggests a shady massage. Our boy turns bright red because the place feels sketchy, yet it's the closest spot to the Abyss zone, while the lady gets touchy-feely as she hands over his card and teases him about being nervous. He grabs the key for room 208 and bolts, hoping to steer clear of any more low-life encounters tonight. As soon as he steps inside, he discovers the walls are so thin he can hear every sound from the noisy activities happening in the rooms next door. Han drops onto the bed, muttering about his bad luck as the noise from the rooms next door keeps him from sleeping. He presses his face into the pillow and tells himself he only needs to get through these final 2 days. The moans still bounce down the hall, proving that this hotel is far from a quiet place to rest. In another room, Sakura is completely losing her mind and screaming for everyone to finally shut up. Her companion keeps his cool, telling her to stay close to the goal no matter how loud it gets. Sakura is so angry that the noise from the room next door is driving her crazy. She looks at her friend Mio and asks for her expert opinion on what is happening now. Mio just smirks, listening to the noise and knowing the guy next door won't make it another 10 seconds. Sakura quickly snaps back to focus on a mission at the construction site, making it clear she's not talking about the drama over trash. Mio tells her to be more specific next time, leaving the poor girl standing there completely baffled. As Mio looks back, she realizes the world has turned into a terrifying nightmare filled with monsters. She promises to stand by Sakura's side and pushes her to gather all the strength she needs to survive the storm ahead. Sakura nods, realizing she can't afford to fail since she was made from different fabric, and just as the noise dies down perfectly, Mio gives a smug thumbs up for her flawless timing. Sakura shouts at her to stop being so weird while they both try to stay focused on their mission. 2 days later, it's 11:30 p.m. and a lonely building site sits under a spooky moon. Our boy Han Ji-hyuk guides his trembling blonde classmate through the dark shadows, feeling something evil lurking in the air. Han stays calm and tells his friend that those trash-tier Stage 2 beasts aren't even worth his time. Even though they were told it would be okay, the blonde kid is shaking so hard he can barely stand, terrified that they're actually going to get hurt. His classmate jokes about using Han as a getaway decoy, and to everyone's surprise, Han just goes along with it. Han deadpanned, questioning if they were still friends after that comment, while the kid just laughed. Han glances at his phone and sees only 30 seconds left, just as his friend starts wondering where the other heroes might be. Han knows from the book that no one else realizes the world is ending, giving him the perfect advantage, but his sharp eyes suddenly spot a flash of movement that means the big moment has finally begun. He silently pulls his friend into hiding, ready to attack the monsters before they even realize he's there. The kid's sidekick is totally shocked, realizing right away that the famous Hanashima Sakura is standing right there. Han is truly rattled to find that these two huge power players were never even mentioned in the original book. He begins to connect the pieces and finally sees how hidden forces are changing his world. Suddenly, it became clear that the hunters before weren't just ignored by the prize. They had been killed in a savage attack. Mio gently rests his hand on Sakura's shoulder to calm her down and let her know it's time to go. The blonde kid whispers that the Hanashima family holds huge power and that Mio is probably part of the special police. His face is dripping with sweat because he's terrified that these new arrivals will swoop in and snatch away their hard-earned stage rewards. Han squints his eyes tight, ready to fight anyone who tries to steal his treasure, no matter how important they are. Sakura stares down at the marked spot, struggling to believe that monsters will really crawl out of it. Mio nods and says the truth. The magic circle will bring the beasts out exactly at midnight. Mio tells Sakura that the monsters about to crawl out are nothing like the weak beasts of this world. To close the distance between them, she rigs a huge bomb designed to leave the creatures barely alive. Mio slides the sidearm to the girl and says, "You must be the one to deliver the final blow." Sakura grabs the weapon with a trembling hand, doing her best to stay cool as the tension grows around her. Perched high above, the blonde kid shivers like a leaf because the whole scene is too scary for him. Our boy snaps at him to toughen up, warning that power never goes to the weak. Down on the glowing circle, Sakura squares her shoulders, gathers her courage, and knows the plan is finally ready to begin. Han watches closely and sees that these two are using trash tier tools because they haven't awakened any real skills. He realizes that even if the bomb works this time, the next monster will just get angrier and harder to guess. With a cold smirk, he decides that no matter what they plan, he will step in and win. Mio stares at the clock ticking down to 0, her heart pounding hard as their plan hits the big moment. The two girls lock in, knowing one slip-up means they won't be walking home tonight. The magic circle starts throbbing with a dark red light, warning that rift monsters are coming, and then the ground shakes as the portal bursts open, spilling a massive wave of raw magical power. Two huge monkeys suddenly appear, so the girls wrongly think it's a great fortune to have twice as many targets to aim at. From high above, our boy lets out a sigh and calls them idiots for being so overconfident. Mio doesn't hesitate, smashes the detonator, and hopes the explosion will finally make the monsters take a break. A huge explosion tears through the whole building, turning the middle of the magic circle into a blazing hell. With the smoke finally lifting, Mio shouts for Sakura to knock out the monsters before they get back up. It turns out the giant is still standing and lets out a roar so loud it makes the ground shake. Mio and Sakura freeze in shock as the smoke fades, revealing that their trap failed to finish the job. As one monkey gets squashed by the falling rocks, the other one is still alive. Before they can get their bearings, the lone survivor bellows a terrifying roar and crashes straight toward them. Mio pulls the trigger right away, praying her bullets can punch through the thick, dark skin of this monster from the deep. She clenched her teeth in frustration as the monster barely moved, and she knew their guns just weren't strong enough. The monkey hammers its fist down, making Mio scream for Sakura to run or she'll be in trouble. Driven by pure rage, the beast bellows again, its burning red eyes fixed on its prey with deadly intent. The huge shockwave from the strike blasts Sakura and Mio backward, tearing their perfect battle line apart. The monster grabs the broken concrete and gets ready to jump again at the confused pair who can barely stand, while the alpha monkey charges across the gap to them in a scary burst of speed. Mio falls apart, weak and pleading with Sakura to run and save herself while she stays behind. Sakura freezes in horror as the crushing weight of their failure hits her, while the trash-tier beast towers above her, its shadow swallowing her whole as it readies its final strike. Mio screams at her partner to stop before he gets crushed, even though she knows it won't work. Sakura closes her eyes tight, knowing her end is here as the monster's huge fist comes down hard enough to shatter bones. Suddenly, a massive boom shook the ruins, showing that these young heroes were facing something way too big for them. The shockwave throws the alpha monkey backward, stopping its charge dead in its tracks. From the smoke, our boy steps forward, shrugging off the hit while muttering that it still stung. Sakura stared up in shock, unable to believe that a random student had stepped in front of her to stop her from dying. Mio darts over to her side, eyes locked on the mysterious savior who just turned everything upside down. Han tells the girls to scram, knowing they're just dead weight against that trash-tier beast. Sakura stares at him through tears, shocked that this very student is standing right in front of her. He has no time for a reunion and rushes to clean up before things get worse, only to be suddenly attacked by an alpha monkey lunging from the shadows with murderous eyes fixed on him. Han moves so fast that he meets the beast right in midair, landing a powerful kick that sends a shockwave crashing through the room. He refuses to stop, clutching the monster's chains tight to make sure it can't run away from his next fierce attack. He lets out a wild roar and squeezes with all his might to crush it. With a mighty throw, he sends the huge gorilla flying across the arena as if it weighs nothing at all. Even though he has 10 times his usual strength, he can barely keep up with the show they're putting on. Realizing he can't keep going, he conjures a glowing magic sword to finally put this nightmare to rest. The alpha monkey is visibly shaken, knowing for sure that he is no longer the top of the food chain in this room. Our boy never even pauses to catch his breath. He slashes forward with his mana blade to finish the fight. He slices right through the monster's armor, certain that a single good hit will finally put it down. The beast lets out one last, hopeless scream as it realizes its time of terror is finally done. Han unleashes a final wave of dark energy to completely destroy the trash-tier creature forever. A message flashes on the screen, telling him he's the first human to defeat a Stage 2 threat. As the beast fades away, Han lands perfectly without even getting out of breath. As the magic fades away, a rare treasure falls to the ground, showing that taking big risks is always worth it for big rewards. Sakura and the agent just stood there, completely stunned, unable to believe the massive power they had just seen. Han just flashes a cocky grin and yells for them to stop dawdling and get moving down there already. The agent freaks out over the height, but our boy just laughs at them, calling it useless since they're completely helpless. Han doesn't hesitate for a second. He grabs his scared classmate and dives straight down into the dark pit. As they crash down beside the defeated beast, Han tells the blonde kid to finish him off. The kid freezes, suddenly realizing that being a real hunter is way more brutal than any video game. The wounded agent watches them, thanking Han for saving Sakura while his eyes linger on the monster's valuable corpse. Sakura leans against her partner, still shaking from the shock that a random student just completely beat them. Han refuses to give his hard-earned loot to the government for free. The agent is so desperate to get the specimen that he tries to buy it with crazy good rewards and promises. Even the blonde classmate nods in agreement, hoping to stay out of trouble with the cops. Han stands his ground, pointing out that he did all the hard work while his friend needs those crucial experience points. Our boy passes the blade to the scared boy, who finally has to end a life. With a last, desperate push, the kid finally takes down the trash-tier beast and steps over the line to become a hunter. The system rewards him for the kill by dropping high-tier loot that looks way too good for a rookie. Even though the beast is dead, the blonde kid is still shaking, scared the monster might suddenly come back to life. Han tells him to stop acting like a kid and wrap things up before more trouble finds them. Knowing they can't win, the agents slip away and vow that this isn't the last time they'll cross paths. The old agent admits Han knows more than she does and practically begs him to help her in the battles ahead. Han thinks hard about what to do while she promises him anything at all just to get his expert help. She grows serious and explains that her family's honor depends on keeping this city safe from the coming rift. Han shrugs his shoulders and tells them to get out before he decides not to help them at all. After thanking our hero and telling him to call later, the agents finally head out. Han lets out a deep sigh, feeling glad that he finally has some breathing room. He He slides a glowing soul stone to the blonde kid and tells him to eat it for a boost. The boy gulped down his treasure, and a wild burst of power exploded deep inside him. The system says he's now strong like a lone wolf, but the boost feels a little small. He tries out his new reflexes with a few fast hits, feeling a bit faster, but still not quite happy with the result. Han looks at the kid and asks what new power he got after that kill. The blonde classmate looks completely defeated, admitting that his eagle eye skill is basically useless for actual fighting. Han pats him on the back and tells him that having a scout's vision is a huge win. He passes the fire-enchanted slingshot to him, saying it's finally the thing that will give him some real bite. Han chuckles to himself, convinced that a firepower is the perfect starting move for a new adventurer. He turns to the kid, curious about the secret powers of that new weapon, while the blonde classmate gets excited and explains how his steady hand makes sure every single shot hits its target. He gives a thankful thumbs up, knowing he'd be monster food without Han's help tonight. As they walk away, Han warns that the world they knew will be completely gone by morning. The city lights blink on down below, completely unaware of the rift monsters hiding in the dark corners. Inside the getaway car, the white-haired agent apologizes for letting things get out of hand. She doesn't trust this savior and decides to dig up the kid's past right away. The name Suda gets stuck in her throat as she realizes he's far too powerful for just a student. After an exhausting night of hauling the whole team, our hero finally drags our buddy into a sketchy hotel where the noises from next door are so weird the blonde guy is totally skeptical, but Han just tells him to suck it up and get some sleep. He worries about their money, wondering if they really are broke now that they've seen this terrible place. Han warns that money will be useless tomorrow, but his blonde classmate gets a creepy idea and flashes a grin that startles Han. Han freezes in panic and screams that he'll never let anyone call in any special backup. His buddy just laughs, teasing Han for being a quiet lecher since he even understood what was being said. Their joking stops suddenly when a loud knock at the door brings their food inside. Han chooses to simply eat and sleep, knowing that when they finally wake up, the world will have changed beyond recognition. Just as he snatches the delivery, the hotel receptionist struts right past, completely clueless that her ordinary life is about to end. As soon as our boy steps out, a stunning woman with a huge rose tattoo almost blinds him. Han locks eyes with her in the hallway and feels the heavy weight of her stare as she walks right past him. He spots himself staring, tries to act cool, but his face turns bright red anyway. Once he was back inside, he let out a breath he didn't know he was holding, happy to have dodged any more strange social moments. As they dig into their food, Han drops a shocking secret. The sun will disappear right at 8 o'clock tomorrow. He says that an emerald sun will rise, signaling the exact moment the abyss swallows the earth. A frightening voice shouts that the whole world will glow with a sick green light, showing us a new and terrible fate. Soon, sheer panic will force world leaders to stop playing games and rush together for an emergency meeting. With chaos taking hold, the powerful awakened humans will finally step out of the shadows to show their true strength. The governments will rush to build special rescue squads, but our boy knows they're just stalling for time before the crash happens. Even though scientists will team up to build special weapons, our boy knows they are fighting a battle they can't win. No matter how much powerful technology humanity builds, the abyssal monsters will still turn the world into a graveyard. As they eat, the blonde classmate wonders if they're the only ones left with such huge power. Han casually mentions there are about 200 users, and his friend ranks solidly 30. But then he suddenly feels the air change, his face hardening as he senses real danger, while his blonde classmate is left stunned, unable to believe he is actually one of the world's elite. Feeling something was wrong, Han jumped up as his friend asked what was happening, and our boy didn't waste a second, sprinting for the door to tell his buddy he'd be right back. Left behind in the dust, the classmate is convinced Han is a high-tier reincarnator and starts crying over his meal, feeling totally cheated because he wasn't the one reborn with all the cheat codes. Han steps into the lobby, where the receptionist explains that the mysterious beauty isn't one of their usual girls. She talks about a freelancer who works on their own time, which instantly makes our boy look up and wonder, while the woman wonders why a fancy lady would stay here instead of somewhere much nicer. Han's gut suddenly tells him this strange stranger is the one he's been hunting for. The receptionist looks totally stunned, baffled that a kid like him could possibly know her. Our boy doesn't wait a second. He asks where the woman is staying so he can make his move. She tries to act professional, saying she can't share secrets about their guests. Knowing that money talks, Han slams a fat stack of cash onto the counter to change her mind. The bribe works instantly, and she beams with a greedy smile, eagerly pointing him down the hall to room 502. Han walks away, jokingly offering her a job if she ever gets fired for leaking the guest's secret location. Han walks up to the 5th floor, thinking about the legendary 12 powerhouses known as the Stars. One of them is the Scorpio Slayer, a woman so mighty she holds a spot in the top 5. Her name is a mystery, but her signature rose tattoo is a dead giveaway of who she really is. She is feared for how cruel she is, locking men away in her own private prison. Our boy notices that the strange woman he saw earlier looks just like the scary Scorpio who hates men. He steps into her room, but stops short, unsure how to persuade such a fierce woman to work with him. Knowing she hates men and fearing she might tear his head off, he breaks in a cold sweat just as the door clicks open before he can knock, leaving him totally caught off guard. The red-haired woman steps out, staring at him with wide eyes, as if he's a total surprise. She sees him standing in the hallway and can't help but wonder why the boy she saw earlier is still hanging outside her door. Han quickly tries to apologize for showing up uninvited, forcing a cool act while his nerves get worse, but the dangerous woman grabs his face and teases him about acting like a common stalker. Our boy flushes bright red, stammers out of denial, and his heart pounds hard against his ribs. She leans in close and whispers that she charges a high price for just one round of her time. Terrified about her reputation, Han sprints down the hall, screaming that she's completely mistaken. She sees him running away and notices something strange about him, so she decides it's time to let him go. Back in the room, Han can't stop replaying that meeting in his head while his classmate snores away like a log. The morning sun crept in way too early, and the blonde high schooler woke up feeling totally wrecked. He pleads for just a few more minutes of sleep, but Han is already watching the horizon. Our boy shouts for him to move, knowing the world they know will end in just 60 seconds. Han stares at the horizon as his friend scrambles up, knowing the final countdown has hit 0. The blonde high schooler stands frozen in shock as Han's nightmare turns into a terrifying reality. Way up high above the city, a nasty green tear rips through the sky, showing that normal times are over. Our boy squints in thought, realizing the world is finally changing. A spooky green light spreads across the streets, surprising everyone who didn't see it coming. People rub their eyes, half convinced they've finally gone crazy, while the other half just thinks they're too tired. Panic bubbles up through the crowd as they watch the sky turn a poisonous green. The air shakes with a deafening roar as the sky's dark sickness pulses, ready to spew its first wave of nightmares. In another part of the world, the red-haired woman complains about her poor sleep after her strange run-in with Han. She freezes in her tracks, her purple eyes going wide when she sees the green sun shining above. The red-haired woman remembers what her teacher said about colorblindness and starts to fear that her eyes are finally giving out. She stretches her hand toward the green sky, staring in awe at the world's end as it looks beautiful even though it is deadly. As the green sun beats with a pulse, a strange energy starts vibrating through the hearts of the few chosen ones down below. Suddenly, she sees the Scorpio constellation appear, marking the moment she finally wakes up. The sky-burning scorpion sinks deep into her eyes as the end of Scorpio's story finally begins to grow. The sudden surge of divine power is too much for her to handle, causing her to stumble and see the world blur. She crashes on the hard ground, her suitcase banging loudly as people watch the first of the awakened fall. Back at the hotel, Han Jae-hyuk warns the blonde classmate to get ready for the storm that's coming. A sneering voice rings in everyone's head, calling people dirty while promising a terrible new power. The entity says that some humans have grown so powerful they've rewritten the very rules of survival forever. The Sky Voice warns that humans are about to face a true hell on Earth. They laugh and call this mass killing the Abyssal War, acting like the end of the world is just a game to them. Huge glowing circles start appearing to connect our world with the scary abyss. A sea of dark monsters lies in wait, dreaming of godlike strength if only they can smash every last human. Even the best agents, like Sakura and her partner, feel the heavy, terrifying pressure of the world ending. Across the city, people who have secretly awakened suddenly know their quiet days are done as the portals begin to rip open. Even the most powerful leaders and those who follow them can only stand helpless while the laws of their world are changed. The entity smiles, showing that humans lose everything the moment the last living thing is eaten. The monster decides to stop talking and lets the chaos take over without ruining the fun with more spoilers. With one last sneer and a fake wish for luck, the thing disappears, leaving the world to deal with its new reality. The sky twists into a swirling nightmare as dark energy squeezes the horizon until it can't breathe. As we return to the hotel, his classmate was going crazy, begging to know if humans even have a future. Han stays quiet while his mind flashes back to the god's massacre and the terrifying monsters he knows are on their way. He finally looks up and tells the kid that if they stick together, they might just survive, leaving the surprised blonde wondering how a normal high schooler could sound so sure about the apocalypse. While back in Novalis, officials admit that Earth has officially become a monster playground. The fiery general smashes the table and screams that they should just blast those weak monsters with everything they have. Matsumoto is convinced the army is the only way to clear things out and save the civilians from getting hurt again. But another official jumps in to remind everyone that their regular guns can't hurt the last boss. Ito Ryota lets out a weary sigh, admitting they have no idea if their weapons will even scratch the next nightmare that appears. Matsumoto snaps, angrily shouting what they should do if their weapons don't work. Ito shoves his glasses up and suggests they build a team of awakened humans to clean up this mess. The big boss loves the plan, but is worried about finding these powerful people. He then tells Matsumoto to keep things calm, knowing the crowd will lose their minds the moment the truth comes out. The room rings with a single salute as the officials get ready to call their final defenders, while Han tells his friend that the government is already building an elite squad, and the blonde kid looks nervous, asking if they really have to join the official team. Han shuts the whole thing down right away, declaring they'll work as free mercenaries instead of government puppets after recalling from the book how the original hero got trapped by bureaucracy and lost his freedom. While the government offers perks, Han knows freedom is essential, yet he remains unaware that Sakura is watching them closely. Takedo looks around, puzzled about where they're going now that they've left the government's job hunt behind. Our boy tells us he's got some personal matters to take care of before he jumps into that tough training. Takedo gets curious and wonders what kind of trouble Han has to solve first. He makes a throat-slitting sign to ask if Han is ready to finally take his scumbag uncle out. Han stays quiet, his face getting darker as he thinks about the messy family ties he must cut. Takedo vows to stand by his side, but warns him not to cross the line and become a criminal. Han nods at the warning, but the secret future he knows presses hard on his shoulders. He flashes a confident smirk, vowing to handle things his own way, while his trash-tier relatives just sit around drinking and complaining about the monster invasion's timing. The cousin smashes his drink in anger, shouting that Han took too long to hand over the property. The scumbag uncle attempts to drown his troubles in a drink, convincing himself to just enjoy the moment. He is already down a mountain of cans, but the drink isn't enough to stop his hunger for more. As the last drop of liquor is gone, he shouts for more, totally blind to the dark figure closing in. Right before the trashy cousin could even blink, a blade flashed through the air and ended his life. The uncle goes crazy, screaming in sheer horror as he realizes his son is gone forever. He freezes and is shocked the moment our boy steps into the light, looking just like the Grim Reaper. Han's eyes burn with a cold, killing hunger as he tells the old man that he is next on his list. The uncle shouts that this is a crime, but Han just nods and says he already knows. In a last-ditch effort to stay alive, the cowardly man throws his family at them, pleading for his miserable life. Han just scoffs at the word family, remembering how those leeches treated him in the past. Han explodes with rage, screaming at the worthless relative that they sold his mom's life to get rich. He stands tall and scary over the coward, shouting to learn how he can sleep at night without a single ounce of guilt. The uncle begins to sob, begging for his life in return for a secret, but our boy refuses to listen and readies himself to send the old man to the afterlife. Right when the blade comes down, the uncle shouts that he finally knows the truth about his mom. Han stops dead in his tracks as the news of his mother's passing hits him like a hard punch to the chest. The room falls into a heavy silence as the uncle reveals he knows exactly who killed her. Han's eyes glow with icy blue fire as he shouts the killer's name. The coward spilled the truth. A powerful official's nephew, drunk behind the wheel, was the one who hit her. Han squints in disbelief, trying to figure out how this lowly scum could have gotten his hands on such secrets. The uncle gags with laughter as he reveals how he blackmailed the police chief to get rich by hiding the truth. Our boy finally pieces it together and understands why the law looked the other way when his mom died. The lowest-ranked villain pleads for his life, believing his confession has finally bought him a safe escape. He's even bold enough to hold a grudge against Han for this embarrassment, vowing never to forgive him. But his relief vanishes instantly when a sharp pain suddenly bursts in his chest. It turns out Han doesn't like leaving loose ends, especially when a family owes him a debt of blood. The blade plunges deep, silencing the parasite forever and sealing his dirty secrets away. Han just smirks, happy that justice has been served permanently, until his blonde classmate bursts in, staring in shock at the bloody mess. Han coldly tells him to look away, reminding him that in this new world, another dead body won't matter. Han decided it was time to start training hard, telling his student they would spend the next few weeks sharpening their eagle eye skill. Our boy begins packing the essentials because he knows they can't afford to be caught off guard when the chaos hits. He stares straight into his student's eyes to make sure the kid is ready for this terrible training. They bump fists to seal their promise, standing together as one against the coming end. 2 weeks down the road, Sakura and her partner talk about how Shurju is still a complete mystery, even though he's been helping them out. The agent found no other clues, only a messy history of dealing with some terrible relatives. They arrive at the empty factory Han talked about, but the secret about their supposed friend feels heavy in the air. Sakura's eyes go wide when she sees something up ahead, showing they aren't alone after all. The car races toward the lonely facility where their next mission begins, while a shadowy man watches from the dark, guessing who these intruders are and what they seek. The black SUV screeches to a stop right in front of the factory where someone we know is waiting. Sakura and the agent walk out and instantly see the blonde student standing there, looking like he was waiting just for them. Takedo flashes a smug grin and welcomes them, looking way more confident than before, but the duo just stares back with pure suspicion, not buying his sudden change in attitude. Sakura's eyes go wide as she realizes this kid isn't the weakling she used to know anymore. She and the agent stand stunned, wondering if this confident man is really Asahi Takedo. Takedo just laughs off the insult, strikes a pose, and asks if they really forgot about him so fast. The agent sees that chasing power changed his walk and talk so much he feels like a stranger. He grabs his gear without a second thought, proving the sharp new reflexes he's earned through his secret training. Finally, our boy Han Ji-hyuk snaps Takedo out of his playful mood, and the group piles into the vehicle as he readies for the next big step. Takedo can't help but feel like himself now that he finally has real power to act cool with. Once they get comfy, the agent jumps behind the wheel and asks their mysterious guide where they want to head next. Han whispers that the third doorway is about to appear right here in the dark ruins underground lot. Trusting the intel he just got, the agent floored the gas pedal and raced straight to the marked spot. Just as they reach the twin towers with the full moon overhead and time running out, they spot the empty parking garage where the world is about to tear open. The agent was blown away, admitting that Han had hit the target with his guess about the location. Han stays careful and tells her to check the streets to make sure no civilians get hurt in the fighting. She's certain they're in a ghost town, so they can do anything they want with no one around to see. Han warns the team that a terrifying rank 3 monster is on its way, so everyone must focus only on holding their ground. Takedo gets bold and tells Han that he's also awakened and can fight on his own. Our boy instantly shuts down the ego trip by grabbing his student in a headlock to keep him focused. Just as the clock hit midnight, the bottomless pit ripped open the world around them. Han feels the air change, knowing the real fight is finally starting. Hiding in the dark shadows, Sakura and the agent watch the mysterious mercenary closely, eager to see what he does next. A huge, ugly purple thing crawls out of the rift, leaking dark energy all over the place. Takedo stares in shock at the monster's huge size, knowing it is far too powerful to be just another weak enemy. Han tells his student to stand strong, because fear is the fastest way to die. Han pulls out his sword, gets ready to carry the team, and checks if Takedo really learned a thing. Takedo quickly checks his gear, remembering how the slime's nasty tentacles and corrosive acid attacks work. He intends to slice off the tentacles first, then asks our boy to deliver the final strike. A huge purple lump looms above them, looking like something right out of a bad horror story. Despite all his training, Takedo couldn't stop himself from feeling sick at the sight of the creature wriggling in its slimy skin. Han stays calm and tells his student to finish this fast before things get messy. But suddenly the beast strikes back, swinging its huge tentacles through the air with deadly speed. The two barely slip away, just in time as the purple limbs slam down and crack the earth beneath them. Takedo switches on his eagle eye, locks his aim on the monster, and starts blasting away to tear it to pieces. As the student holds the enemy's attention, Han slices through the last tentacles as if they were made of air. Now that the way is open, our boy jumps up and slashes straight for the monster's eye. Han slices through the slime, knowing this weak enemy is just a warm-up. The beast crumbles into a pile of scraps, yet our boy stays sharp, watching for any sneaky surprises hiding in the mess. Han notices the crowd and insists that the two hiding agents finally reveal themselves. He tells Sakura to finish the job to see if she really has a spirit. She lifts her dagger, but her shaking hands show she knows she doesn't belong here. Takato suddenly screams a warning as he feels something huge coming down from above. The agents stare in shock as a sudden, bright light bursts through the ceiling out of nowhere. Han zips through the air like a blur, snatching Sakura right before a huge explosion blows the concrete apart. He wraps his arms around her as the others hold their breath, trying to guess just to try to kill them. Just as the dust clears, a strange voice sneers, mocking them for somehow dodging that blow. The scarred intruder gives a smirk and decides to let them go this time, even though he was ready to kill them at first. He strides forward with unshakable confidence, claiming the area as his own, while a twisted purple beast stands between them like a barrier in this dangerous three-way standoff. Han glares hard at the agent and scolds her for giving such useless and wrong information. The agent looks shaken and begs for forgiveness, admitting they never guessed anyone else was there. The mysterious man gets so fed up he snaps at the group to scram before he explodes. Han sees this man belongs in the future, proving the book's timeline is officially broken. With his power surging, our hero readies to bring him down, even if it means rushing the plan. They step closer until they are nose to nose, neither one ready to take a single step back. The intruder laughs at Han's frozen fear, while Han worries that one small mistake could change everything. Han lets out a weary sigh, clearly fed up with this unexpected problem. The intruder just smirks and mocks our boy, asking why he looks so tired before the fight even begins. With a satisfying crack, Han admits he's seen this exact mess coming because he knows what's going to happen next. Their powers smash together in a violent explosion, sending shockwaves as Han feels the intruder's wild strength pressing down on him. The mysterious man flashed a trash-tier grin and admitted that the brat standing before him was actually pretty good. Han slides back to create space, realizing the enemy is using powerful mind tricks to command those deadly iron balls. Han spots a chance and yells for Takedo to hit the distracted intruder right then. Takedo doesn't wait a second, instead firing a rapid stream of bullets straight at the proud man's weak spots. The intruder floats harmlessly through the storm of bullets, using his swirling orbs as a perfect shield that nothing can break. He laughs, admitting he never thought two kids could fight back so well, and Takato fires a blazing shot of magic, ready to blast the intruder away with one big blow. The intruder still acts cocky, believing his heavy iron balls will easily block such a predictable strike. It seems he was mistaken, for the bullet breaks through his protection and hits him with crushing power. He falls to the ground in agony, gripping his shoulder as he realizes these kids are far tougher than he thought. The mysterious man, burning with anger, refuses to believe that a couple of kids actually hurt him. Han Jae-hyuk speaks softly, telling him to stop fighting and promising to let him live if he just plays along. Instead of giving up, the intruder suddenly bursts forward with a wild, desperate rush of speed. Han steps up to block, only to realize the man isn't even looking at him. The bad guy wears a terrible grin while moving closer to a completely shocked Takato. Just as the student is about to lift his weapon, the intruder attacks, showing he still has a lot of strength left. The intruder explodes forward so fast he sends a huge shockwave rippling out, showing he is way more dangerous than his injury made us think. Our boy Han Ji-hyuk yells at his student to move and throws himself into the danger, but the villain is too fast and grabs him by the face, slamming him into the dirt. Han gasps for air, realizing the stranger is vastly more powerful and stands tall with burning purple eyes, ready to stop playing around with kids. He lands a hard punch right on Han's jaw the moment he gets the chance. Another strike hits with a sickening thud, proving Han's defenses are nothing but paper while the attacker rains down blows to turn him into pulp for drawing blood, mocking Han's mana boost as useless since the boy is still just trash in his eyes. Sakura and the white-haired agent stand frozen in shock, watching their only hope get beaten up. The mysterious intruder suddenly focuses on the girls, telling them to stay put before smashing into the white-haired agent without waiting for a reply, knocking her back in pain. He stands over the fallen agent and tells Sakura to keep her wits about her and avoid doing anything unnecessary. He glances around the broken mess, feeling good that he got his point across while the dead slime monster rots right next to him. After cracking his neck, the man casually says they should take their friend to the hospital before it gets too bad, but our boy isn't done yet, his eyes glowing with fresh power that shows he's still ready to fight. Han blasts forward at lightning speed to catch the arrogant intruder off guard with a sudden counterattack, leaving the man completely stunned and unable to believe Han is still standing unharmed after that beating. Before Han could even feel the shock, he unleashed a powerful kick that sent the villain flying through the air. The blow is so hard it sends the secret stranger flying backward just as the tables turn, and he coughs up blood in horror, realizing too late that he badly underestimated our boy's hidden strength. Han gasps for air as his body begs him to stop, pushed past its breaking point by the sheer force of his mana. Han ignores the weak villain and dashes to Takedo, who is taking a heavy hit from the crash. He lifts his student up as Takedo spins dizzily and wonders if they really managed to do the impossible. Takedo flexed his wrist, feeling lucky that his hard training had kept his bones from shattering like glass during the fight. As the duo refocuses on the dying slime monster, Sakura doesn't hesitate and plunges her blade straight into its core to finish it off for good. Han picks up the fainted agent, gives Sakura a shining stone, and tells her to eat it right now. Mana rushes through Sakura, giving her a sudden burst of strength that makes her wonder if she has finally awakened. While the group moves on from the ruins, and she struggles to catch up, leaving the defeated intruder lying in the dirt in sharp pain from a loss he never expected. He gazes at the crater, baffled that such a small kid could hold power that big and scary. Still dizzy from the crash, he fumbles for his phone to call about the mess left in the empty parking garage. He admits he crossed the line and complains that his face is a total mess because of the kids. Hobbling off, he tells his contact they'll finish talking once he's back at the safe house. The cold night air hits him as he stumbles into his lonely hideout, still furious about the shame of his defeat. He kicks the door open in a fit of rage, only to be mocked inside by a red-haired woman who laughs at his bruises and asks who made him a punching bag. The leader is just as stunned, struggling to swallow his drink while wondering if anyone that powerful could really exist. The intruder says one kid had a sharp aim with a gun, while the other just knocked him out with a hard punch. The leader thinks about bringing the kids in, knowing their growing powers would make them a huge help to the team. Still smarting from his bruised pride, the intruder snaps that he wants absolutely nothing to do with them. The boss looks at the red-haired woman and casually asks if she'd like to try taking them on. She hits the table so hard it shakes, screaming for the 100th time that he must call her Scorpio. The stranger just grins, sneering at her for caring so much about that silly code name. That was a bad choice because her hand suddenly glowed with a deadly pink power and shot straight for his throat. She gives him one last warning to keep his voice quiet before she decides to end his miserable life. He didn't back down. Instead, his eyes turned a glowing, dangerous purple as he dared her to take him up on it. The leader finally steps in to call it a day, sighing at how draining it is to deal with such petty tempers. He warns that if the intruder causes trouble again, he will make sure there is no next time for him. Both the intruder and Scorpio were shocked to find they had finally made the big boss too angry. Scorpio instantly changes her tune with a playful apology, promising that her trashy attitude won't show up again. The intruder stands frozen in silent terror, realizing he is staring at a demon trapped inside a human face. The boss tells Scorpio to come back quickly and warns that anyone who won't join must be taken out. Scorpio gives a dangerous smirk, ready to wipe out any obstacles in his path. While over at the hospital, our boy finally gets to check on his battered team. The doctor bursts with good news, revealing that the agent's internal organs are still whole even after the savage beating. Sakura lets out a huge sigh of relief, happy that she'll be back on her feet in just a few weeks. Even the blonde classmate is given a pass, with the doctor confirming he only suffered some minor muscle tears. Takato tries to look strong and says he's okay, but his arm throbs in pain and he collapses, leaving Sakura and Han worried if he will survive. As the doctor leaves and tells them to press the call button if things get worse, a scary global message suddenly warns them that the abyss can appear anywhere, anytime. Powerful forces around the world see that the global game has changed and are listening to the new rules being set. Even the richest people are shocked to learn that everyone must hunt down the abyss seeds just to survive this game. If they lose, the hungry thing from the deep will happily laugh and say it will turn the whole world into its lunch. It chooses to hold back the rest of the story, knowing that sharing too much would ruin the fun. With a final, mocking promise of a fun game, the monster's scary shadow hangs over the quiet city. When the purple fog finally disappears, the whole city is left in a freezing, dead silence. Back in the room, the blonde classmate stares at Han and begs to know if there's any hope left for humanity. Han stays quiet, his heart pounding as he remembers the terrible endings from book. He remembers the Azura goddess and the total destruction he is fighting so hard to stop this time. Our boy stares hard and promises they won't lose this second time. The blonde classmate stands frozen in shock, trying to make sense of Han speaking like he's already survived a world-ending disaster. World leaders have no choice but to admit that Earth is now just a playground for the abyssal monsters. Joe Wanley slams the table, insisting that even the worst monsters can't survive a full military attack and demanding immediate action. But Wang Wenfeng warns that these creatures are already changing to survive the hottest weapons we have. With Joe Wanley demanding answers, Wang Wenfeng steps forward with a bold new plan for the council. He proposes forming a special team of ability users to fight the rising abyssal danger head-on, and the leader agrees, saying these wild forces need their strict control. He makes Wang Feng the squad's leader and tells Zhou Wanli to keep things calm at home. The room explodes with shouts of agreement as the government finally starts its frantic rush to fight the coming end of the world. As we stroll through the city, our boy guesses that the world will soon build special groups to fight the abyss. The blonde classmate looks shocked, unsure if they will really sign up and join in. Han shakes his head and decides they'll work as freelance mercenaries so they won't get tangled up in red tape like the hero in the book did, who lost everything because he was too tied down by government rules. Han knows that real survival means total freedom, so while the official route offers rewards, he looks at our boy with a blonde classmate who wonders what their next move will be in this crumbling world. Han says they have 2 weeks until the next wave, so they'll need to train hard just to stay alive. But before leaving, Han says he has personal matters to handle, which makes his student look uneasy. The kid gets it fast and asks if they're finally ready to take out his trash-tier uncle. Han stays silent, but his icy eyes show that old debts of blood are finally coming due. His student swears he'll stay loyal, but he begs Han not to become the very villain they are fighting. Our boy stops and wonders if his quest for revenge will seem like a betrayal to someone who still believes in heroes. He offers a comforting smile and tells the kid not to worry, because he hasn't lost his humanity yet. While the scumbag Uncle wastes his stolen money on drinks, he fumes that the apocalypse is ruining his good time. His trashy son jumps in, smashes a can, and curses the cousin they've already heard enough. Mustafa's uncle tells his son to enjoy their time together, not knowing the dark shadow waiting to fall on them. He gulps down drink after drink to forget the world outside is ending, not realizing his son has already died while he thinks the boy is just too drunk to hold his liquor. A heavy, suffocating darkness fills the room as Han's terrifying killing intent suddenly swallows his cousin whole. The uncle lets out a pathetic scream as a cold blade suddenly appears from nowhere and grazes his neck. Our boy finally steps in, knocking the uncle off his feet while the cousin slumps on the couch. Han glares with his glowing eyes and says it is finally the old man's turn. The uncle goes crazy, blaming Han for a crime as the truth about his son's death finally hits him. He tries to play the family card, frantically arguing that blood is thicker than water to save himself from trouble. Han just sneers at the thought of family, remembering how those parasites treated him when he had no one to help him. Han erupts in fury, forcing the parasite to remember how they tormented and cursed his mother as she took her last breath. He towers over the coward, asking if they really know what family means after stealing everything from a dying woman. The uncle breaks down, crying like a scared kid, begging to trade a terrible secret for a chance to live. Our boy isn't falling for it, and is ready to send this terrible relative straight to the afterlife for a family reunion. In a last-ditch effort, the uncle shouts that he knows who really killed Han's mom. Han stops dead, his glowing eyes going wide as a piece of his past he thought was fixed suddenly comes back to haunt him. The room falls quiet as the uncle shrinks back in fear, knowing he has stumbled upon the only thing that might save his life. His energy bursts into a dark glow as he shouts for the killer's name right now. The coward admits it was Director Wang's nephew and claims the man was drunk when he hit Han's mother. Han clenched his jaw in pure rage, unable to believe how this worthless piece of trash could have stumbled onto the truth. The coward admits he's been using the director's mistake as blackmail money for years. Our boy finally gets it. No matter how hard he tried, the investigation was stuck from the start. Thinking he has bought his freedom, the trash-tier relative tries to scurry away like a rat, only to freeze with cold sweat as he realizes Han never promised to let him live. Fear eats him alive as he accepts that his life is over, no matter the secrets he has already told. Suddenly, he drops to his knees, his body giving out as the burden of his mistakes finally crushes him. Han's sword cuts right through the bad guy's heart in one fast, cruel move. Han just smirks and wipes down his gun, feeling a dark kind of satisfaction, while his blonde classmate walks in and freezes at the sight of the fresh body. Han urges his student to get tougher, reminding them that this is just a small taste of their new reality. Han tells his student to pack up, saying 2 weeks is all the time he needs to master his eagle eye ability. Our boy and the blonde classmate put on their gear and step out from their hiding spot into the real world. Han asks if he's ready for the bloodshed, and the kid answers with a sharp, gritty grin. They bump fists to seal their deal and officially step into the nightmare that has become their new life. 2 weeks later, Sakura and the white-haired agent are driving and talking about the mysterious man they have to help. The agent admits she's hit a dead end, showing that Han's past is far from ordinary. As they arrive at the old factory Han talked about, the air inside the car grows so heavy with tension it feels like it could snap. Sakura stands frozen, her mind buzzing with questions about who the man they're chasing really is. They roll up to the spot, but the creepy quiet tells them something terrible is happening. Suddenly, a mysterious figure in a long coat shows up, and Sakura can't help but wonder who this new danger is. The SUV slams to a stop right where our young student waits in front of the empty factory. Sakura and the agent stepped outside, instantly feeling a wild and strong energy radiating from a spiky-haired kid. Takedo flashes a cocky grin at them, looking like a totally new person instead of the weakling they knew. The girls just stare him down, trying to figure out how a regular student turned into such a huge powerhouse. Sakura stands frozen, her mind stuck trying to connect the old days with this strange new world. She looks at him and can't believe that the boy in front of her is actually the same high schooler she remembers. He just laughs it off, teasing them for not realizing their own ally after only a few days. The agent sees that while awakening changes everyone, this kid's shift is getting so weird it feels like magic. All at once, a heavy backpack flew through the air, breaking the awkward silence with a swift swoosh. Finally appearing, Han Jae-hyuk tells his student to stop acting like a clown if they want to move. Our boy jumps into the truck, ready to lead this ragtag crew straight into the next disaster zone. Takedo couldn't stop himself from smirking, puzzled that his master was still acting like such a mysterious expert. As they started down the road, the agent asked where they were heading next, knowing Han knew the way better. Han warns that the third abyss will soon appear in the old underground parking lot of the Twin Towers. With the target locked, the agent floors the accelerator, racing against time before the rift opens, while the city sleeps quietly under the moonlight, unaware that the world is about to tear apart. The team reaches the right level, sensing the thick and twisted air as they get ready to break through. As the agent feels a strange tingle, she knows the deep, dark power is finally spilling into our world. Han stays on guard, checking if the area is locked down so no one else can see what's going on. She tells him the place is quiet enough to feel like a ghost town, so they're all alone when whatever crawls out arrives. Han sees the abyss seed dropping in 30 minutes, so he tells the others to stay safe while he takes care of it. Takedo doubts if this is really their job, heavy with the feeling of being just a student in the middle of it all. Our boy silences him with a slap to the face, making it clear that failure is not an option tonight. Just as expected, the clock chimes midnight and the room starts ripping apart with a sickening light. Han Steelman himself, as the tear, in reality, fully opens, ready for whatever terrible horror is about to crawl through. From the dark shadows, Sakura and her partner hold their breath, realizing just how big this danger really is. A huge, writhing sea beast oozes out of the portal, its very presence warping the air around it. As Takedo gazes up at the towering purple slime, he realizes with a jolt that this monster dwarfs everything they've ever fought. Han tells his student to stay calm, and even though he is scared, the boy manages to focus. Han hands over a weapon and asks if he remembers the training, getting him ready for the fight of his life. Takedo studies the slime's dangerous tricks, like its nasty habit of spitting acid and snapping at him with its tentacles. Our boy nods to the plan, handing crowd control to his student so he can land the final blow while the trash tier blob lets out a wet, unhappy screech at being targeted. As the blonde student stared at the throbbing lump, she felt a wave of pure disgust for the monster before her. Han just wants to get this slimy mess over with, finding it more annoying than scary, until suddenly the monster lashes out and sends a flurry of purple tentacles whipping through the air toward them. They immediately unleash a stream of acidic spit, making the pair have to stay light on their feet. With his sharp, eagle-like eyes locked on the target, Takedo unleashes a furious barrage of fire, driven by his resolve to tear every single limb off that monster. As the student keeps the enemy busy, Han slips through the mess and closes in to strike with deadly accuracy. Han stares hard at the core and kicks off the ground, ready to finally put this mess to an end. Han dashes forward, his shining sword ready to slice through this pathetic slime. With one smooth move, our boy tears right through the beast guard, turning it into a twisted pile of parts. The monster crumples into a heap of purple goo, totally beaten by how fast and sharp Han moves. With the danger gone, Han waves the agents over to clean up and casually hands Sakura the final kill, hoping it'll teach her a valuable lesson and give her the monster's power. Just as she is about to strike the final blow, a strange iron ball falls from the sky. Takatoshi's gut tells him to move, so he roars for everyone to clear out instantly, leaving the group stunned as a huge explosion sends debris flying and forces Han to throw himself over Sakura while the ground breaks apart beneath them. Han realizes they aren't alone and stands ready, wondering who else might be hiding in this messy mix of time. As the smoke fades, a mocking voice tells the group they're lucky to still be alive. The Scarman grins and kicks our boy and his crew out, then casually juggles heavy iron balls as he strolls right past them like trash to grab the monster for himself. The white-haired agent stares at Han Jae-hyuk, doubting whether his knowledge of the future is really true. With sweat pouring down his face from the stress, the agent rushes to apologize for his error just as the tension snaps. The stranger just laughs, shaking his head and telling them to stop throwing blame at each other and get lost before he finally loses his temper. Han Jae-hyuk knows this stranger changes everything because the story said this spot should be empty. Our boy starts to doubt things because he knows this scary beast shouldn't show up until much later in the tale. Standing firm, Han Jae-hyuk gets ready to face someone who wasn't even in the script. The stranger laughs at our boy for staying, and as Han wonders if his presence caused this strange twist in time, he doesn't run away but just lets out a deep sigh, clearly annoyed by this unexpected detour. The intruder laughs at the reaction, wondering what in the world could be worth sighing over right now. Han admits he thought things would get messy and gets ready to throw his hands into this timeline-breaking fight. Their strength crashes together in a violent explosion that leaves both fighters shocked by how much damage the other just caused. The mysterious man grins, finally admitting that Han is no longer just some nobody. Han steps back, seeing that his foe mixes raw power with the skill of perfectly throwing iron balls. Spotting a chance to strike, the blonde classmate sprints forward with his gun blazing, screaming for the fight to start as he pours bullets toward the intruder, hoping to surprise them. But the stranger easily turns the incoming fire back with his iron balls, making him an unstoppable wall. The intruder is shocked that just two kids have grown this strong. Without even a word, Takedo fires a deadly fifth shot packed with powerful magic. The stranger stands tall and sure, claiming his heavy iron balls will easily bounce the attack right back. It turns out he was wrong because the shot smashed through his guard, tore a hole in his shoulder, and he collapsed to the ground, clutching his ruined arm as he tried to understand how he lost so suddenly. Even as he bleeds out and refuses to give up, his face changes from shock to pure fury. Takedo laughs at his own empty bragging, while our hero Han gives the man one last chance to throw down his weapons and live. Suddenly, the intruder dives forward with frantic speed, refusing to give up, and whips past Han in a blur to strike at the easiest target first. The student freezes in shock as the bloody man steps right up to his face, grinning with a terrifying smile. The intruder swings a heavy fist at the student, who barely manages to guard against the sudden explosion. The impact sends a shockwave through the area, proving that this trash-tier-looking guy is actually a major threat. Han screams a warning and dives forward to shield his student from the bloodthirsty intruder. But the stranger is a true powerhouse who flips the fight and slams Han to the ground without even trying. Han gasps for air, realizing that this hidden variable is far more dangerous than the original story ever warned. The man stands tall and scary like a demon, his eyes shining with a glowing purple light full of evil. He didn't even hesitate for a second before winding up a heavy punch meant to finish the job right here. The punch lands with a sickening thud, shaking Han's brain as he absorbs the full blow. Han gets hammered again and again like a punching bag as he desperately tries to find a way to hit back. The intruder sneers at Han, telling him that brute strength won't save him when a better fighter shows up. Sakura and her partner are frozen in shock as the intruder shows them no mercy, treating their elite skills like nothing more than a minor bother. Just as the agent is about to pull the trigger, the intruder rushes forward and lands a heavy blow. He looms over the fallen agent and warns Sakura that rushing into things will only get her killed. The man sighs, frustrated that the kids won't listen to their elders and stay out of trouble. He rubs his neck and grumbles about medical bills, thinking the fight is done, until a voice calls out and the intruder's eyes flare as he feels a new threat. Our boy Han won't stay down, so he launches a desperate counterattack to take control back. The intruder is totally shocked to see Han still moving after getting hit so hard. Han unleashes a powerful kick that sends the arrogant variable crashing across the factory floor. The force knocks the proud intruder, sliding across the ground like a busted toy. He crashes hard into the concrete, coughing up dust and swearing at the kid who actually managed to land a good hit. Our boy Han takes a sharp breath, his mana-infused eyes shining bright as he forces his body past its breaking point. For a brief moment, he ignores the intruder to rush over and check on his students, who are slumped against the wall. Han checks in to see if his student is still okay and if he managed to get the win. The blonde classmate flexes his fingers and realizes that Han's terrible training is the only reason his bones haven't turned to dust. Han yells at Sakura to knock out the rest of the Abyss Seed before the other enemies swarm them. Without a second thought, she drives her blade deep into the purple mass, watching it vanish into nothingness. Han presses an Abyss Stone into her hand and warns her to swallow it if she hopes to make it through the coming chaos. As power rushes through her, Sakura wonders if this scary new strength is finally her true awakening. Our boy Han carries the unconscious agent away, shouting at the group to move before more trouble comes. Back at the crater, the intruder lay in the dirt, stunned and speechless after the beating he just took. He holds his sword jaw, amazed that such a small boy could have strength so powerful it felt like a monster's. His phone starts buzzing, so he reluctantly answers it to explain why he's taking so damn long. He admits he ended up in a mess and had his face turned into a pig's by 2 kids. Shaking off the shame, he tells his contact he's heading back to base to lick his wounds. Under the dark cover of night, he limps back to a lonely building, muttering curses at his bad luck all the way, and kicks the door open in angry frustration, still seething because Han and Takato had beaten him so easily. The red-haired woman just laughs and asks the old man how he ended up looking like such a mess. The scarred mercenary leader can't believe anyone in the city dared to trash his man, but he admits the kids weren't normal since one broke his arm and the other finished him off. The boss runs a hand over his chin, dreaming up a super strong hero to join their team. The scarred man is so afraid of getting beaten again that he absolutely won't go near those 2 kids anymore. Since his subordinate was acting like a coward, the leader handed the job of finding new members to the red-haired woman. She instantly bristles at the name, snapping that he must call her Scorpio, not Rose. The scar man just laughs at her, wondering why someone so beautiful would choose such a sharp name. Instead of getting tricked, Rose unleashes a flash of purple power that almost cuts his head right off. She stares him down with pure hatred, letting him know she won't hesitate to kill him if he keeps talking. Instead of retreating, he lets his power surge and dares her to make a move, while the mercenary leader finally snaps at their petty arguing and orders them both to shut up. Our boy, the mercenary leader, finally loses his cool and tells his team that their petty fighting is over. He fills the room with the dark thought of killing them, warning that he will kill them both himself if they don't shut up. Rose and the scarred man stand frozen in shock, finally realizing their boss means business. Rose instantly puts her attitude away, smiles, and promises the captain she'll follow his orders without a single complaint. The scarred man stands there sweating in sheer terror at how ruthless their leader can be, while the captain gives Rose just 3 days to either recruit the new targets or wipe them out completely. Rose grins with confidence, ready to prove she's built for the job, while the survivors rest and heal inside a modern medical center. The doctor tells Han and the others that the white-haired agent got lucky and didn't get any deadly inside wounds. Sakura feels a huge burden lift from her shoulders when the doctor tells her partner will be back to full health soon. The doctor then checks on our boy Takato and sees that, luckily, his bones are still in one piece. Takato tries to act tough by showing off his muscles, pretending that a few injuries are no big deal for a real warrior. The brave face falls apart the moment he cries out in pain, leaving Han and Sakura staring at him with their jaws dropped. Once the doctors and nurses are gone, the team finally gets a quiet moment to talk about their work. Sakura tries to apologize for messing up, but Han tells her to stop worrying about it and just show him what power she got from eating that dark stone. Her excitement boils over as she vows to show him something so unforgettable it will stick with him forever. It turns out her amazing secret power is just a small, weak flame flickering on her finger. Han doubts her, wondering if she truly learned just a simple, trash-tier trick to start fire. Sakura just smirks, showing him that a little flame is only the beginning of something much bigger. She shows off her control over fire, water, and nature with such ease that our boy Takato is instantly amazed and practically worships her dazzling display of raw power. Han remembers the story's old tales, where most people only get 1 or 2 powers, but there was once a legendary hero who could use all of them and was thought to be strong enough to stand against the 12 stars. Sakura shows they were wrong when she proves her power is way stronger than they thought, able to heal, defend, and strike hard with every element at her command. Her weapons get a huge boost, turning her into a one-woman army ready for the coming war. Takato pleads desperately to trade powers, but Han cuts him off right before he can make a fool of himself. Sakura changes the vibe by playfully asking Han what he's planning next, while also sharing a spicy secret she just found out. Han leans in with wide eyes, eager to see if the clues she shares line up with what he already knows from the story's past. She shows that the government is already frantically trying to put together a special team to hunt down those evil abyss seeds. When she asks him to join the official group, Han says no and chooses to stay alone like a wolf. He was blown away by how fast the country is moving, realizing the officials are working way faster than he ever thought. Sakura tries to sell him on the perks, warning that taking on waves of monsters alone is a logistical nightmare. She shows off the huge team backing her, but Han knows the price is his own freedom to do things his way. Her face shows real worry because her best friend is walking into a lot of trouble. Han gives her a serious final promise that even without a uniform, he will still guard their home. Sakura says yes to his refusal, but offers help anyway, which makes our boy finally admit he actually has one specific request. Han feels a bit embarrassed as he admits that all he really wants right now is some cold, hard cash. Sakura just laughs it off, boasting that even though her family doesn't have much, they certainly don't lack money. When she casually offers a cool billion, even the wounded Takato is left totally stunned by the sheer scale of it. Han breaks into a cold sweat, worried he aimed too high, and quickly suggests that 50 million would be more than enough. Sakura starts to doubt his sudden humility, wondering if our hero is actually hiding a clever plan. She chooses to trust him, demands the full billion, and asks for his bank details right away. Takato stares in shock, unable to understand why she would give that much money to someone like Han. Han drags his student away before she can change her mind, ignoring her worries about the kid's fresh wounds, gives her a thumbs up to claim the injury is nothing, and leaves Takato fuming at being treated like baggage. Sakura watches him walk away, wondering if our boy is planning to use that cash to build his own private army. Walking along, Takato wonders why they need cash when the whole money system here is already broken. Han says that even if the world is ending, starting a top-tier mercenary group still costs a lot of money. Takato is excited about becoming vice captain, but Han is already busy using the kid's uncle to help with real estate. He dreams of a hidden mountain headquarters and even tells Takato to threaten his uncle to make it happen. The kid stands frozen in shock, suddenly seeing his master not as a hero, but as a heartless villain. Han waves it aside, urging them to squeeze in more training before the next abyss seed drops. Takato just stands there in silence, probably wishing he had made different choices to get himself into this mess. He lets out a cry of despair because the painful training isn't over yet, so he and his partner head toward a huge factory to make their new home. Our boy and his student are totally exhausted, lying flat on the floor of their brand new secret hideout. As they heal, the radio screams in the background about a new army rising to fight the darkness. Right now, governments are rushing to create special teams in big cities to deal with the extinction that is coming soon. Han looks over the messy renovation site, and Takato reminds him that turning this pile of rubble into a real fortress won't happen overnight. Even though he was tired, the kid couldn't wait for the next fight and kept asking when the next match would start. Han drops a bombshell. They only have 3 days left, so it's time to get ready and head out now. Suddenly, the room fills with a dark, killing energy as an unwelcome visitor finally finds them. Without a second's pause, the two drop into fighting stances to face whatever danger just walked in. It's the fiery redhead from the hotel, and she's so mad after getting yelled at. She shoots him a hateful look, blaming him for the terrible week her boss made her go through. Scorpio spots our boy from the hotel and realizes he's been hiding some serious power all along. Takato stares in total shock at her stunning beauty, while Han just wonders why she followed them here. Suddenly, she collapses to the ground, pretending to be worn out and pleading for a drink to satisfy her thirst. The boy's student drops everything to rush over and serve her like she's royalty. She grabs the bottle, flashes a smile, and asks Takato if he's looking for a new partner. The kid's face turns bright red as his brain totally stops working from the surprise. As she sips her drink, Han stays cool and asks exactly what she wants from them. She drops a bombshell by revealing she's Scorpio and that the giant gorilla they killed was actually one of her own crew. Takato finally shakes off his daze, pulls out his weapon, and asks if she's there just for a revenge fight. She just tosses the gun aside and says she really wants them to join her mercenary group. Han is totally caught off guard when she suddenly pushes a finger against his lips to stop him from speaking. Scorpio moves in close and whispers a terrifying choice to her captain: refuse, and she wants them dead. Takato tries to look brave, telling her she's outnumbered, but suddenly his vision goes blurry and his pupils shrink as a strange, unseen force strikes him out of nowhere. The poor kid crashes to his knees, clutching his head as his balance is totally blown away by her. He realizes she's pulling a cheap trick with a trash-tier move and curses her for being a devious old hag. Han's eyes go wide with rage when he sees his student struck by a powerful mental blast. Our boy didn't wait a second, lunging forward to stop her before she could hurt anyone else. She just laughs at him, making fun of the boy for changing his mind so fast after he told her she was beautiful. Suddenly, her happy energy disappears and turns into a heavy purple force that presses down hard while she insists they give their answer right this second. Han and his student freeze as a sudden new danger crashes into their gathering, changing the air around them. A bunch of scum from the trash level shows up, and their boss screams that he finally found the red-haired witch. The arrival of the Poison Sting Squad makes the normally calm woman shake with fear. Han asks who these clowns are while she curses her luck, wondering how they managed to track her. The leader, whose hair is falling out, growls about breaking her arms and legs and tossing her out to the wolves. Noticing the deep hatred in her eyes, our boy asked her what she'd done to deserve such anger. She speaks plainly without flinching, telling the truth that she cut off the man's testicles during their last meeting.